In a quiet farming village surrounded by green fields and gentle hills, there lived a young man named Maxwell. He was known throughout the community as one of the hardest working people in the village. Although his family owned only a small piece of farmland, Maxwell never complained. Every day, he worked side by side with his father, Andy, believing that honest labor was life's greatest source of pride. The villagers admired Maxwell not only for his dedication, but also for his unwavering optimism. Whenever life became difficult, he would simply smile and say, "Everything happens for a good reason." Those words became his guiding principle through every challenge. Before the first rays of sunlight reached the village, Maxwell was already walking toward the fields with farming tools resting on his shoulder. He spent each day planting seeds, watering crops, pulling weeds, and caring for the land as though every seed carried a dream. His father, Andy, often watched him with pride and said, "Son, our responsibility is to work hard. The results are always in God's hands." Maxwell never forgot those words. That year felt different. He believed it would finally be the season that changed their lives forever. Instead of saving his money, Maxwell invested every peso he had into the farm. He purchased higher quality seeds, richer fertilizer, and repaired the old irrigation system with his own hands. It was a risky decision, but he believed that genuine hard work would always be rewarded. As the months passed, the crops flourished beautifully. The once empty field transformed into a sea of golden grain dancing beneath the gentle breeze. Every time Maxwell looked across the farm, his heart filled with hope. He had already imagined what the coming harvest would bring. He would finally pay off the debts that had burdened his father, Andy, for years. He would repair the leaking roof that forced them to place buckets around the house whenever it rained. Most importantly, he wanted his aging father to stop working under the scorching sun and finally enjoy the peaceful life he deserved. Everything seemed perfect. Until one terrible afternoon, dark clouds suddenly swallowed the sky. Strong winds shook the trees with incredible force. Within minutes, heavy rain poured down, followed by large hailstones that crashed relentlessly onto the fields. Maxwell rushed outside, desperately trying to protect his crops, but there was nothing he could do. Nature was far stronger than human hands. In only a matter of minutes, months of sacrifice disappeared. The beautiful field that had once been filled with hope was completely destroyed. Broken stalks lay scattered across the muddy ground. The harvest he had dreamed of was gone. For the first time in his life, Maxwell could no longer smile. He quietly walked home without saying a single word. Days passed. He barely spoke to anyone. At night, sleep refused to come. As he stared at the ceiling, memories replayed endlessly in his mind. He remembered planting every tiny seed with excitement. He remembered working beneath the burning sun until his hands became rough and blistered. He remembered skipping meals and refusing to buy new clothes so he could save enough money for better farming supplies. Every sacrifice had been made for one dream. Now, that dream lay buried beneath the storm. One morning, unable to remain inside any longer, Maxwell slowly returned to the farm. His footsteps felt heavier than ever before. Only a week earlier, golden crops had stretched across the land like waves of hope. Now, silence filled the field. Broken plants covered the soil. Nothing remained except the painful reminder of everything that had been lost. Maxwell knelt down. He scooped a handful of soil into his hands and slowly watched it slip through his fingers. Tears quietly filled his eyes. For the first time he whispered, "Why did this happen? I worked so hard. Was it still not enough?" His father, Andy, who had quietly followed him to the field, gently placed a hand on his shoulder. Neither of them spoke for several moments. Finally, Andy broke the silence. "Do you remember what you always told everyone?" Maxwell lowered his head. Andy smiled gently. "Everything happens for a good reason." Maxwell forced a weak smile. "I used to believe that, but today it's difficult." Andy nodded. "Faith is easy when life goes well. The real test comes when everything falls apart." Those words stayed with Maxwell. Although his heart remained heavy, something deep inside him slowly began to change. The following morning, instead of giving up, he picked up his farming tools once again. Many neighbors were surprised. Some even asked, "Why start over? Didn't the storm destroy everything?" Maxwell simply smiled. The storm destroyed my crops, but I won't let it destroy my hope. Inspired by his determination, several villagers volunteered to help him. Some brought fresh seeds, others shared fertilizer. A few offered their time and hard work. People who had quietly admired Maxwell for years finally found an opportunity to return the kindness he had always shown them. Day after day, they worked together. Slowly, the empty field came back to life. Months later, another planting season arrived. This time, the weather remained calm. The crops grew healthier than anyone had imagined. When harvest day finally came, the field produced even more than the previous year's harvest had promised. Maxwell sold the harvest successfully. He paid every debt his father, Andy, had carried for years. He repaired the roof of their humble home. He even built a comfortable wooden chair where Andy could sit every evening and watch the sun slowly disappear beyond the fields. As they sat together outside their home one peaceful evening, Andy smiled proudly. "Do you understand now?" Maxwell looked across the fields, glowing beneath the golden sunset. Then he smiled, a genuine smile. "Yes, Father, I finally understand." He realized the storm had never come to destroy his future. Instead, it revealed something far more valuable. It taught him that success is not measured by how many times life rewards us, but by how many times we choose to stand back up after life knocks us down. Sometimes, losing what we work so hard to build opens the door to something even greater. Sometimes, delays prepare us for greater blessings. And sometimes, the greatest harvest is not found in the field, but in the strength, faith, and hope we gain along the journey. Because no matter how painful today may seem, everything truly happens for a good reason.